Welcome dear audience, students and scholars. Here I am Dr. Amjad Ali. In this video we will learn some of mathematical and statistical terminologies which are extensively used in econometrics. Dear scholars, in this video we will learn particularly about the matrices, what is the definition of the matrices, and what are the kinds and what are the features and what are the uses of the matrices, and specifically what are the uses of the matrix in econometrics. We are not focusing matrices with respect to mathematical point of view, we are focusing the uses of matrices in econometric point of view. Okay, matrices. Matrices are very useful and important ways for organizing sets of data together, which make manipulating and transforming them much easier than it would be to work with each component of the matrix separately. Matrices are widely used in econometrics and finance for solving systems of linear equations, for driving key results, and for expressing formulas in a concise way. Some of the main terminologies of matrices. The first one, scalar. When we are talking about a scalar is a single number, like you have a 3, -5 or 0.5, like these type of number. When you have an individual number like these type of numbers, technically this is known as a scalar. Vector. When you are talking about vector, a vector is a one-dimensional array of numbers. Like you have here one row with 2 columns. Here you have one column with 3 rows, but this is a one-dimensional array of numbers. So this is called the vector. Matrix. A matrix is a two-dimensional collection or array of numbers. So technically, when you arrange your numbers or data in the form of columns and rows, so this is technically known as a matrix. The size of matrix is given by its number of rows and number of columns. As you know that when you are arranging your data in the form of rows and columns, so this is known as matrix, and the number of rows and number of columns will decide the size of the matrix. Like here we have one row with 2 columns. You are reading like that, one row with 2 columns. Here you have one column with 3 rows, and here you have a 2 column with 2 rows. So this is known as a square matrix, and this is known as a vector, and this is also a vector matrix. Okay, the dimension of a matrix are quoted as R cross C. Here we have R, the number of rows, and C, the number of columns in a matrix. So this gives us the R cross C, number of rows and number of columns. Each element in a matrix is referred to using subscript. For example, suppose a matrix M has 2 rows and 4 columns. The element in the second row and the third column of this matrix would be denoted by M23. Here we have a second row and third column, so that more generally Mij refers to the element in the ith row and jth column. Thus, if you have a 2 cross 3 matrix, you have to give us that here are 2 rows with 3 columns. Here we have a matrix with 2 rows and 3 columns. So like you can see that here you have 2 rows with 3 columns. If a matrix has only one row, it is known as a row vector, which will be a dimension 1 cross C, where C is the number of columns, and you are mentioning that you are talking about the row vector, so that's why we are here given 1 cross C. So here you see that we have a 2.7, 3.0, -1.5, 0.3. Here you can see that we have a 4 columns with 1 row. So technically this is known as a row vector. And when a matrix has only 1 column, it is known as a column vector, which will be a dimension r cross 1, where r is the number of rows and 1 representing the number of column. And when we have a 1 column, so technically this is known a vector column vector, vector column. We can say that 7, 5 and 2 has only 1 column and 3 rows, so this is known as a column vector. Okay, when the number of rows and columns is equal, like r cross c, it would be said that the matrix is a square. In like we have a 2 cross 2 matrix, like here you can see that we have a 2 rows with 2 columns, so this is our square matrix. You can see that minus 1.6 and 0.8, 0.4, 0.7. Here we have 2 columns with 2 rows. A matrix in which all the elements are 0 is known as a zero matrix. Here you can see that all the given numbers in the matrix are 0. So this is known as a zero matrix. A symmetric matrix is a special type of a square matrix that is symmetric about the leading diagonal. The diagonal line running through the matrix from top left to the bottom right, or you can see that here we have a leading diagonal 1, 2, 4, and the symmetric matrix, when you take the transpose of this matrix, the leading diagonal will remain same. So technically this is known as a symmetric matrix. Here you can see that Mij, and when you are taking the transpose of Mji, so leading diagonal will remain same. So this is a symmetric matrix. Okay, a diagonal matrix is a square matrix which has non-zero terms on the leading diagonal and 0 everywhere else. Here you can see that we have a 9, minus 4, 1. This is our leading diagonal is will have a number, but all the elsewhere we have a 0. So this is a diagonal matrix with a square matrix. A diagonal matrix with 1 in all places on the leading diagonal and 0 everywhere else is known as identity matrix. If we have a 1, 1, 1 on this place, so technically this is our identity matrix, and you can denote identity matrix with capital I. By definition, an identity matrix must be a symmetric and therefore also a square matrix. You can see that here we have a 1, 1 on the leading diagonal and 0 everywhere. This is our identity matrix. The identity matrix is essentially the matrix equivalent of the number 1 multiplying any matrix by the identity matrix of appropriate size, result in the original matrix being left unchanged. So far any matrix M, like we have a matrix M, we are multiplying the matrix M with identity, or identity with the matrix M, we get the original matrix M. Operations with the matrix, there in order to perform operation with the matrix, like you are going to add or subtract or multiply with the help of matrix, the matrix concerned must be comfortable. The dimension of matrix required for them to be comfortable depend upon the operation. So when you are talking about the operation of the matrices, so technically this is the addition, subtraction or multiplication or division or like that type. What is the operations are done with the help of matrices. Addition and subtraction of matrices require the matrices concerned to be of the same order. Like if you are adding or subtracting subtracting one matrix from the other matrix, the main rule, there must be same rows and same columns for the two matrices when whom you are adding or whom you are subtracting. The operations are then performed element by element, like you have A matrix and B matrix. Now see, here we have two rows, here we have two rows, and here we have 3 columns, and here we have 3 columns. So for the for the subtraction and for the addition, you have a equal number of rows and equal number of columns of the two matrices. So let's see the addition process. We are going to add a plus b, and you are going to add 2 with 2 and 4 with 5, 4 with 5 and 5 with 3, 1 with 1, 4 with 7 and 6 with 7 with 6. So this is our addition matrix. And if you are subtracting them, so you can subtract 2 minus 2, 4 minus 5 and 5 minus 3, 1 minus 1, 4 minus 7 and 7 minus 6. So this is the addition and subtraction. Okay, multiplying or dividing a matrix by a scalar. When you are talking about a scalar, you can see that a single number implies that every element of the matrix is multiplied by that number. If you have a matrix A and you are multiplying matrix A with 2, so here you can see that every element of the matrix A will be multiplied by 2. So this is a scalar multiplication. You can say single number multiplication with matrix. More generally, for two matrices A and B of the same order and for C a scalar, the following results hold. If you are going to add A plus B and B plus A, this will give you a same result. And if you are adding zero matrix with A matrix, or you are adding A matrix with zero matrix, the result will be A matrix, same. And if you are multiplying A matrix with constant or constant multiplied by A matrix, the result will be same. And if you are adding A plus B and you are adding two matrices, and then the addition will be multiplied with constant or scalar number, then the answer will be equal to the you have to multiply individually column A with any scalar number, and individually column B, matrix B with the scalar number C here, any number. And if you are multiply zero matrix with any matrix, the result will be 0. This is a simple mathematical rule. When you are multiplying any number or any matrix with 0, the answer will be 0. Okay, multiplying two matrices together requires the number of columns of the first matrix to be equal to the number of rows of the second matrix. Note that the ordering of the matrices is important when multiplying them. So in general, if you are multiplying A and B, the answer will not be same with B and A, because the order of somehow the order of A and B will be vary, because for the multiplication we have a rule: the column of the first matrix will be equal to the rows of the second column. So sometimes we face difficulty in the multiplication if the rows and columns are different. So every time A and B will not equal to B and A. Okay, when the matrices are multiplied together, the resulting matrix will be of a size, number of rows of the first matrix multiplied by the number of column of the second matrix. So either here you can see that for as a rule you have to see that the column of the first matrix and the rows of the second matrix, but in the process of the multiplication you are starting from the rows to multiply with the column. Okay, in terms of determining the dimensions of the matrix, it is as if the number of column of the first matrix and the number of rows of the second cancel out. This rule also follow more generally, so that A cross B or B cross C or C cross D or D cross E, or you can say that A cross E, like that you have to cancel out the number of rows with the second column, second matrix, sorry. The actual multiplication of the elements of the two matrices is done by multiplying along the rows of the first matrix and down the column of the second. Like here you can see that we have a 2 column. The first rule, we have a 2 column with 2 rows. But when we are starting the multiplication procedure, then you have to start from first column rows and first matrix rows and the second matrix column. So let's start the multiplication. Here we have a 3 cross 2 and 2 cross 4. Here we have a 3 rows with 2 columns. Here we have a 2 rows with 4 columns. So let's see the multiplication of this. 1 multiplied by 0, 2 multiplied by 6, and then 7 multiplied by 0, 3 multiplied by 6, 1 multiplied by 0, 6 multiplied by 6. So like that you have to multiply each row with each column separately. So keep in mind the second number of every multiplication is equal or same. See here we have 0 0, we have 6 6, we have 2 2, we have 3 3, 4 4, 0 0, 9 9 and 2 2. So these must be same. If they are not same, then you are actually doing some type of mistakes. So here we have 3 columns or 3 rows with 4 columns. So see here we have a 3 rows with 4 columns. The outcome of the multiplication is like that. So see here we have a 3 rows with 4 columns. So this is the process of multiplication of the matrices. Okay, in general, matrices cannot be divided by one another. Instead, we multiply by inverse matrix. So keep it in mind, we cannot directly divide the matrices. We rely on inverse of the matrix. Like the transpose of a matrix, you can write it A prime, or you can write it AT, is the matrix obtained by transposing the rows and column of a matrix. We are talking about the transpose. If you have a matrix A, here you can see that you have a 2 rows with 3 columns, and the transpose of A, you are actually transforming the rows into the column and column into the rows. So you can see that 2 4 5, you are writing this row in the form of column 2 4 5, and here you have a transpose and the value of the transpose with 3 rows and 2 columns. If A is of a dimension R cross C, so the transpose of A will be C cross R. So keep it in mind that the transpose will convert the rows into the column and column into the rows. So technically the transpose can be interpreted as C cross R. Rank of a matrix. The rank of a matrix is given by the maximum number of linearly dependent rows or column contained in the matrix. Like you have here a matrix 3 7 4 9, and here you can see that every element of the matrix is independent. So you have 2 rows and 2 columns. So technically the rank of this matrix is 2. But here you can see that we have a B matrix 3 2 6 4. Everybody can imagine that if you are multiply 2 with first column, you get this. So when our rows or columns are linearly dependent upon one another, so we can give it a rank, half rank. So here we have a 1 rank, here we have a full rank, and here we have a half rank. The second column is not independent of the first. So matrix with a equal to its dimension is known as a full rank, and the matrix with a less than a full rank is known as a short rank. short rank matrix, and such matrix is also termed as a singular matrix. We have here rank of A is always equal to the rank of its transpose, and the rank of AB is less than or equal than the minimum of rank A or rank B independently. And the rank, if we are multiplying with the transpose of A and finding the rank of A multiplied by A transpose, and its rank will be equal to the actual rank of or actual matrix of A. The inverse of a matrix. The inverse of a matrix is denoted by A inverse. So technically we interpret it A inverse. You can say that A power minus 1, so we can interpret it A inverse. It is that matrix which, when pre-multiplied or post-multiplied by A, will result in the identity matrix. So, like if you are, if you have a matrix and its inverse, if you are multiply the original A matrix with this inverse, and the answer will be identity matrix. And identity matrix, you know that a leading, except leading diagonal everywhere is 0, and the leading diagonal is 1, 1, 1. The inverse of a matrix exists only when the matrix is square and non-singular, that is when it is of full rank. The inverse of a 2 non-singular matrix whose elements are, like we have a matrix A, B and C, D, and if we are finding its inverse, and we have a 1 over AD minus BD, its determinant, and here we are transposing, and this is our transpose. We are in the transpose, we are changing the place of diagonal matrix and the sign of the other diagonal. Here is leading diagonal, we are changing the place of the leading diagonal and the sign of the other diagonal. The expression in the denominator above, here we have the left side, the denominator here AD minus BC, a determinant of the matrix, and it will be scalar. If the determinant is 0, the matrix is singular and thus not of a full rank, so that its inverse does not exist. So let's see its example here. We have a matrix. If you have a matrix 2, 1, 4, 6, and you are going to find the inverse of this matrix, and the determinant of this matrix, simple formula for determinant, you have to multiply every diagonal. Here we have leading diagonal 2, 6, and then we have put the sign of minus, and then the other diagonal will multiply 4, 1 or 1, 4, and you get 8. So determinant of this matrix is 8, which is non-zero, you can say non-singular, so you can find its inverse. Then you can transpose of the matrix. You have to change the place of the leading diagonal and the sign of the other diagonal. The inverse will be 1 over 8 into 1 over 8, and here we have a whole transpose of the matrix. As a check, you have to multiply the two matrices, the inverse. Here is the answer of the inverse matrix, and here is the actual matrix. If you multiply the actual matrix with the inverse matrix, you get the answer identity. Then technically you are doing a correct procedure, and if not, then there are some mistakes which you have done in the process. So here we have multiplied the inverse with the actual matrix, and we get 1, 1 and 0, 0 everywhere, and this is our identity matrix. And so technically the inverse of identity matrix is always equal to identity matrix, and the inverse of a matrix of its inverse is technically equal to its original matrix. or you can say A matrix. And if you are taking the inverse of the transpose, then the inverse function, you can take the inverse and then transpose will be equal to each other. And if you have a two column with multiplication and you are taking the inverse of them and then you are multiplying these with their actual matrices, so the answer will be B inverse and A inverse independent. Matrix and the co-integration, which is the more important point of view here. We are going to discuss the matrix and the co-integration, which is very advanced method of econometric, which will be extensively used in your thesis point of view as well. So here you with the help of matrix you find the two different type of value, that is the trace value of a matrix and the eigenvalues of a matrix. Let's discuss the detail of the trace value of a matrix and the eigenvalues of a matrix. The trace value of a matrix. The trace of a square matrix is the sum of the terms on its leading diagonal. For example, the trace of a matrix, if you have a matrix A is equal to 2, 1, 4, 6 and its leading diagonal is 2, 6. If you are adding 2 plus 6, so answer will be 8. So this is your trace value of a matrix. There are some important properties of the trace of a matrix are like if you have a matrix A and you have a constant or scalar value as well, and you are multiplying your matrix A with a constant, and the trace value of that matrix will be is equal to trace of A, and then you can multiply it with a scalar or constant value. And the transpose of when you are talking about the transpose, and the trace of a transpose is equal to the trace of A, and the trace of A plus B is equal to the trace of A plus trace of B, and the trace of identity matrix N is equal to N. The eigenvalues of a matrix. The concept of eigenvalues of a matrix is necessary for testing for a long-run relationship between the series using what is known as Johansson co-integration test. Let we have a pi denoted a P cross P square matrix, C denoted a P cross 1 non-zero vector, and here lambda denoted by a set of scalars. Lambda is called a characteristic root or a set of roots of the matrix pi. If it is possible to write that pi a scalar or pi constant, whatever the value of the C will take is equal to the lambda scalar value or constant value, and P cross P and P cross 1 and P cross 1 here we are going to actually find. This equation can also be written as pi constant or scalar is equal to lambda identity PC, where identity P is an identity matrix, and hence pi minus lambda IP into C is equal to 0. If this will be your answer, then technically you are going to in the right direction. Sorry, since C is not a 0 by definition, so C is a constant, it means a scalar value here, then for this system to have a non-zero solution, the matrix pi minus lambda I identity matrix with P is required to be a singular having non-zero determinant. When you are talking about a singular with non-zero, when you are talking about singular, this means that your answer will be 0, and when you are talking about determinant is non-zero, then it's a non-singular. And pi minus lambda IP is equal to 0. Okay, let we have a pi be the 2 cross 2 matrix. Let's see its practically example next. Here we have a pi matrix with 2 cross 2. We have a 2 row. Pi is equal to 5 1 2 4 with 2 rows and 2 columns, and then the characteristic equation is pi minus lambda I p. Here we have a mod on the both sides, so this means that we are considering the positive value here. So we have a 5 1 2 4 and minus into our identity matrix is equal to 0, and here the multiplication process we get, with the multiplication process we get lambda square minus 9 lambda plus 18. This gives the solution that we have a lambda is equal to 6 and lambda is equal to 3. These characteristic roots are also known as an eigenvalue. The eigenvector would be the value of a C corresponding to the eigenvalues. Some of the properties of the eigenvalues of any square matrix are as like sum of the eigenvalue is the trace of the matrix, and the product of the eigenvalue is equal to its determinant, and the number of non-zero eigenvalue is the rank. Okay, another example, we have a pi is equal to with with matrix where 2 rows and 2 columns. We have pi is equal to 0.5, 0.7, 0.25, 0.35, and then the characteristic equation we know that mod pi minus lambda ip, and we are going to multiply pi with minus with the lambda identity matrix, and the process, after the process we get 0.17 minus 0.8 lambda plus lambda square minus 0.175 is equal to 0, and if we put it is equal to 0, then we get lambda square minus 0.5 lambda is equal to 0. So which here we can make the factorization process, and we get lambda is equal to 0 and lambda is equal to 0.5. So the characteristic roots are therefore one root is 0 and the other root is 0.5. Since one of these eigenvalue is equal to 0, it is obviously that the matrix pi here cannot have a full rank. In fact, it is also obvious from just at pi, since the second column is exactly half of the first. So see here, you can see that the second column is the half of the first. So we can simply say that our columns are linearly not independent of each other. So here we have only one eigenvalue. For a full rank, we have a complete true value of eigenvalue of the matrix. So this is here all about the matrices and the uses of the matrices in econometric point of view. So see you with another video. Ciao.